Hey everybody. Boy, do we got a lot to cover today. Holy mackerel. So, even though we still have not really gotten into winter yet up here in Michigan, I am now on my fourth build project. I just keep building. Holy mackerel, what the heck's going on? Anyways, what we have here is a long since discontinued kit of the Midwest Citabria. And I believe this was that fifth scale or quarter scale? I think fifth scale. It's a standoff scale kit. Still over 80-inch wingspan, so it's still a giant scale model, but yet it's still a four-stroke glow-powered sport plane. Quite a bit of sentimental value for this airplane for me. My dad built one when the kit was first released in 1995, and I flew it quite a bit when he had it. But it was a short-lived airplane, unfortunately. Um, but I've always wanted one ever since. And uh, throughout the years when I've looked, people just wanted absolute gold for these kits, still do. But I've just been patiently waiting for somebody that would let one go for a decent price, and thankfully I finally found one. But anyways, I've had my dad's old plans for many years and had often, really looked them over and figured out how I could possibly scratch build one from these plans. And without some kind of CAD software, you really can't. Because, yeah, the sides are, just sides, the top is a top. But the formers and the fuselage are all pretty intricate and, got some nice shapes to them. So to try to reproduce these formers uh, just based off what's on the plans is not really feasible. So what I did, just in case, is as I've been building this, I've been tracing out all of the die cut formers onto paper. So just in case if I ever wanted to build another one, or if this one got damaged and I had to fix it, I can do so. Anyways, this plane's always been kind of special, both for me and my old man, because my grandfather flew a full-scale Citabria back in, 50s and 60s, I believe, maybe into the 70s. So when my dad built his, he covered it in my grandpa's old color scheme, and I will do the same. So yeah, kind of a special airplane. I'm really glad to finally be able to build one for myself. My dad had the Sato 91 in his, which is actually what's on the plans, and I got the OS 91 Surpass First Edition in this one. So it'll have just a little bit more power than my old man's used to. But it should be a great flying airplane. It's been a very enjoyable build so far, believe it or not. um, One thing Midwest Kits was very well known for is their die cutting was absolutely phenomenal. Um, this is before laser cutting was really a thing. So die cutting light ply usually meant the cuts didn't go all the way through or they were really jagged. But just look at how perfect they are. Just absolutely wonderful. Um, they utilize the Carl Goldberg technique of the tab and slot construction. So the whole plane, the whole fuselage, you rubber band it together into shape. And the rubber bands hold the sides, the tops, the formers, it holds everything into place. And then when you're confident that everything is straight, you start at the nose and work your way back with CA and just start gluing formers. Then you have to go on and put the stringers on and so forth, wrap the light ply sheeting over the nose, that kind of thing. But very, very easy build, very enjoyable build, and a really good looking airplane. As you can see, for being a standoff scale airplane, it's got some really nice features that give it a real nice scale look when it's covered, such as the stringers on top and bottom. So it's going to be a really nice airplane. I actually have some pictures here. There's me and my dad taking off my trainer, and there's his old Citabria. and a Goldberg Extra. Now it's about to get kind of funny. Check this out. This was probably 2004, maybe 2003. We used to keep all of our busted up airplanes on the top of our garage, and one day we decided to empty them out. And there's the old Citabria and the old Goldberg Extra, all smashed up and ready to get tossed. Now that I look back at all the planes that we threw away, kind of turns my stomach. Man, those were fixable. But, oh well. So that's where we're at with this project. I haven't started the wing yet. I wanted to get the fuselage all buttoned up, and it just about is. I just have to do some more sanding on the stab, then I can get the stab and fin glued on. Fuselage is not final sanded, but it's filled and sanded. With this type of construction where you have the tabs and everything that come through, some protrude out a little bit, some are recessed, so you got to do a good sand and then a good fill with a light filler. But very, very, very nice turning out so far. And for this project, I'm going to do a somewhat of a separate video once the plane is completed. As most of you know, I started using the FR Sky transmitters about a year and a half ago, something like that. And I bought the X20, which is an absolutely fantastic radio system. Liked everything about it. It's been like learning how to speak a foreign language to figure out how to program the thing, but I'm old school, so that kind of stuff's always a little harder for me. But I enjoyed the transmitter so much, I wanted to get a backup. And as most of you know, I've been flying Futaba and Airtronics my whole life, and on 2.4, Futaba and Airtronics are my primary systems, and I have multiple transmitters of each protocol. But for the FR Sky, I only had the 20. So they released earlier this year the X18, which has all the features of the 20. I mean, it's virtually the same transmitter, just in a slightly different case. But actually, it's got much better switches, same gimbals. I think the trims are a little better. And the slide levers on the side that you would use normally for flaps are much nicer as well. But the main thing I like about this transmitter, which is the main reason I decided to go ahead and get this one, is the feel. The way it feels in my hands, I like much better than the X20. So instead of this being my backup transmitter, it's going to be my primary for the planes that I have with FR Sky. So highly recommend it. Fantastic system. Let's get it fired up here.
Welcome to Ethos.
Runs on their system is called Ethos. It's very user friendly once you get used to it, and it's just an all around great transmitter. So earlier in the year, I was contacted via Facebook by a guy named Steve, who is I believe he's a field rep for FR Sky here in the States. And he was telling me that he enjoyed my videos, and he was glad that I bought an FR Sky radio, and was asking me how I liked it, if I had any questions. I said, no, everything's going good. I plan on using some equipment and some more of their equipment in future builds. And I expressed interest in the new tandem receivers, because I hadn't used one yet. And he says, I tell you what, I'll send you one of our tandem receivers if you give it somewhat of a review/overview and put it in your videos. I said, well, that's a no-brainer. Absolutely. So he sent me the TDR10. Of course, the TD stands for tandem, and 10 because it's a 10-channel receiver. Now, what is a tandem receiver mean? This has probably been one of the most popular Futaba 2.4 receivers ever. I mean, it's so universal. Of course, you got two antennas for the antenna diversity. And I've seen these be used in everything from small electrics all the way up to 50% airplanes. It's just a great receiver. So what's the difference between this one and this one, besides obviously a different protocol? As you can see on this receiver here, we have a little bit more going on. We got our two 2.4 antennas, which are going to be orientated 90 degrees to each other inside the airplane. We got this goofy looking thing. This is the antenna for the 900 megahertz. So that's what makes this a tandem or dual band system, is this will run 2.4 and 900 at the exact same time. Where other radio brands that utilize this they normally run on 2.4, but if for some reason you lose the 2.4 signal, it can switch over to the 900 and you're good to go. This doesn't run that way. They run them both at the exact same time, obviously if you're using one of the tandem receivers. So I'm going to put this in the Citabria, I think. I planned on using this in my Byron Husky, but that project just keeps getting pushed back further and further. So I'm going to use this in the Citabria. And when it gets time to do some flying with it in the spring, then I'll do a little bit more in depth on my final thoughts on the receiver and so forth. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff there. Great transmitter, by the way. The 18 or the 20, highly recommended. Very, very reasonably priced. And of course, in my opinion, the 18's just got a much better, more familiar feel for those of us that have been in the hobby as long as I have, where we've been handling transmitters for so long. The 20 just seemed a little squattier and wider, and it just wasn't quite as comfortable in the hands. And FR Sky just released a tray style transmitter. You know what I'm talking about. It's much longer, almost looks like a laptop almost. And that's meant to be on a tray where the flyers fly with their fingertips and the switches are laid out in rows. Very cool. Almost makes me want to buy one and start flying that way just for fun. But anyways, more to come on that. So cool. And I was asked when I did my simple Taylorcraft video about the progress on the Prime Stick. It is built, it is covered, it's got servos, the engine is on its way. So let's go over what we have. The covering on this is a combination, because I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on covering, and actually I spent no money on covering on this one. The white on the fuselage and the tail is the Value Hobby new cover. Love that stuff, by the way. The white on the wings is monocoat. The blue, I forget, it's Ultra Coat. I know. Don't give me any shit. It's all I could get. Or it's all I had. I forget what color it is. I can't remember if they call it a pearl or it's not a metallic. But as you can see, it's got kind of that metallic look to it. I had a bunch of this covering still left over from when I rebuilt several of my Hangar 9 Extra 260s throughout the year. And this covering, not Ultra Coat in general, it's more to this color. This is a terrible color to use. It is very difficult. When you apply heat to it, it almost turns it into rubber, and it acts like gooey. Absolutely miserable color to use. Oh, man. And the red is Ultra Coat True Red. And it turned out extremely well. I had mentioned that I was going to do it in somewhat of a Steve Stricker TOC color scheme. And it looks really nice. Of course, all the servos are in it. The elevator and rudder servos have old, high-tech, I think they're 5985s. Ridiculously fast and overpowered for this airplane. But I've had them for years and I haven't been using them. The push rods, I think I went over already. I used the Sullivan Giant Scale Nyrod. The Nyrod stops in here somewhere. Then I have threaded in the TIG welding rod. So there's no flexible rod coming out of the sleeve on either side. So on the inside of the fuselage, you see this same setup. You do not see the Nyrod itself. And it's just rock solid, real tight setup, works well. Now the ailerons, because I couldn't get my hands on the Pro Modeler servos, hopefully this will focus, I decided to try a couple of these D645s. And this is the newer digital version of the 645. They're not the fastest, but of course they're high voltage servos, and I'm only running them on 6.6. They're pretty quick, just as is, but they are so freaking strong. And they center well. This is a game changer for the 645 type servo. And as you can see, it did the welding rod for push rod. And these servos, there's just something about them. They focus. They're just so smooth. I mean, unbelievable. And the RCGF Stinger 40 Twin is on its way. If you're going to have a big open nose like that, the engine better look pretty. And this engine's going to look pretty. The only thing I'm concerned about is that stupid carbon fiber landing gear. I just do not trust it. I mean, look how and that's not just the wheel pant moving. It's just so wobbly. I'm worried that it's going to fail. I hate carbon fiber. I really do. Let me rephrase that. I hate carbon fiber for wing tubes and landing gear. Those are two places that, in my opinion, they do not belong. It's just, there's too much. For those that don't understand how carbon fiber works and what makes it such a great thing, there are certain areas that they just don't work well in my opinion. So for the first flights, I think I'm going to take the wheel pants off. Just in case this gear fails, those wheel pants will destroy my beautiful wing. So we'll see. But yeah, that's virtually ready to go. Turned out very well. And of course, in the last video, I went over the simple Taylorcraft. Unbelievable how fun that little airplane is. So cool. Unreal. Love that little guy. And nobody really gave me shit for flying it on an old transmitter either. That's because we all know my old transmitters work very, very well. Anyways. So that's about it for this trip. Probably I'll do another video once I get the wing built. You never know, I might even have it covered by then. That seems to be the trend lately. Ooh, I did just get a set of plans that I ordered from Germany. And I kind of want to say what it is, but at the same time I kind of don't. Because I haven't decided if I'm going to build it or not. We'll see. We'll see. If I do decide to build it, it's going to be the coolest damn airplane you've ever seen. You think the Globe Swift is unique and cool. Wait till you see this thing. So, you never know. Maybe we'll see it. Maybe we won't. But until the next time, later.